first drink is very much oriented to the title of the book, as well as this introductory reading that we have. This is called The Cheerleader. Why wouldn't it be called The Cheerleader? And so this is a little bit of a variant on a mimosa. What we're going to start with is about 1 ounce of pomegranate juice. We're going to put these into champagne flutes because we're going to get a bit of Prosecco in there. And I have pomegranate juice flying over the place, so it looks like I'm bleeding everywhere. And now we're going to put in just a touch of some orange juice, just a ½ ounce, in addition to our pomegranate juice. So from a personal training standpoint, you might find that this drink actually has a small, healthy foundation to it, you know, with the fruit juice. And then, of course, we're going to put in some Prosecco. Top it off. Just about 3 ounces worth. And this drink is actually, it's existed for quite some time as the Cheerleader. There have been one or two variants to the recipe, but it's basically some, fruit juices and Prosecco. So here we have the Cheerleader.
All right.
Cheers.
I have my seltzer water.
Excellent.
I'll toast as well.
It's a little bubbly for my taste.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people would really like this on a hot day, though.
Yeah, it's got a great,
kind of a light drink,
mm-hmm.
but I'm not a huge fan of even sparkling water. I'm not crazy about. So I think a lot of people would like it though. So
and they're bubbly, just like Cheerleader.
Right. I can see why they called it that. Between the kind of cheerful color and the bubbliness.
Okay.
So just out of curiosity, have you ever known an angry, grouchy cheerleader, or are they all bubbly?
We're all pretty bubbly.
Yeah, they live up to the stereotype. That's neat.
The team. I was the next runner. That was the next runner up. So
okay.
When I went to varsity during basketball, and then I stayed varsity and co-captain all the way through high school. Didn't make it my first year at Ohio State because we had all girls. So I was holding girls in high school. Then I had to go to college and get flipped around by guys.
Oh, wow. That's a change. Did you take gymnastics?
I had to learn gymnastics. So I had to start learning gymnastics because they had, criteria that you had to do. So, trying to learn at that age to flip around, it was how bad do you want it?
Right. One thing I really related to in this reading was, I related to it only after I got to the end of the book. We find out later that your dad was very, very against you going to Germany. And he was very against you quitting your medical sales job. He was very against, cheerleading and yet he flew out to see you in the championship. Did something change in his heart or mind? I
think my mother, she was kind of like, let her go, my whole pitch to my dad, because my dad was like, you work, it doesn't matter what you're unhappy, who cares, you work and get your pension, you're good.
Right. Yeah.
So I think he did finally come around, but my mom was more, let her go. I'm working, they're paying me, Dad. I have a contract as a freelance educator, so that's my safety net. I have my degree, I can always go back. So I think once they came over and then realized, wow, this is kind of hard. You got to pay to use the bathroom. You have to pay, go to the laundromat and do my clothes. I mean, it wasn't like wine and roses,
right.
Learn the language, and it was a whole different culture. So I think that helped once they saw in real time on what I was able to accomplish.
Right.
Yeah.
And probably what you were doing for those girls too, because when you read the book and see how they went from, my mom made me come, to really taking pride. And that's the same kind of thing that I saw being in marching band, where it's not just playing music, it's not just entertaining people, you're also learning
Right.
discipline and hard work and teamwork.
Exactly.
How fast do you have to go on a bike to be speeding? Two things before we go on to the next drink. What is people's biggest obstacle in getting fit in your experience? I say as I drink.
The biggest excuses I hear is I don't have time.
Mhm.
Or they feel like what you had talked about, I need to be in shape before I go to the gym.
Yeah.
It's like you're there, nobody's looking at you. You concentrate on yourself, and you're not competing. Men are a little bit harder at that because they're looking at the guy, lifting 50 pounds, and they're trying to compete. Even though women are a little bit different. So I think the challenges are, I think especially when we're older, because we've been through the PE, laps and, so it's like punishment, get 50, win sprints and run around the gym. And so they think it as that in a negative light,
Yeah.
and it's a punishment. And so I just try to put a different spin on it, on what it's going to add to your life. Like my older 70s, 80s, I said, my responsibility is to keep you out of assisted living. And
I see what you did there. You put a different spin on it. Did you teach spin classes?
I did teach spin. I taught everything. Hip hop.
Those were some of my favorites.
Spin, they had this slide. Yes. So yeah, I just try to meet them where they are, the clients, and figure out what their goals are.
That kind of thing was happening. I was curious too, did people routinely bribe the cops?
Well, I remember riding my bike on top of the, you had your, where you would park your bike and lock them up. And I went on the sidewalk and the cop was standing there and he said, "Das ist verboten. 10 marks," it was Deutsche Mark said, 5 marks, you can't ride your bike on the sidewalk. And I'm watching everybody ride their bike on the sidewalk. And he said, "I'm going to write a ticket." And I'm like, write the ticket. But he wanted me to give him money, and he wasn't going to write this up. And that happened several times. But I'm just, when that happened, I pretended like I didn't speak any German. So I made them try to speak English. And he kept on saying, "But I'm going to write the ticket if you don't give me 5 marks. I'm going to write the ticket." And I'm like, "Well, write the ticket," because I knew he wasn't going to write the ticket, but he was kind of shaking me down for money.
Yeah.
Or someone that didn't know any better. "Oh, I'm going to go ahead and give him the money."
You're only grumpy when everything breaks all at the same time.
It's true.
Which kind of defines our last month. So
onward to reading number 3.
Reading number 3.
Okay. Grumpy old man. This was perfect. My father came, it is perfect. My father came and switched off the television. He stood there, hands on his hips. "Your mother tells me you're moving to Germany to teach dancing." Aerobics, Dad. It was impossible not to feel like a kid again when Burl Murray, at 6 feet 2 inches, spoke his mind in his booming voice. "Your mother and I pay for your education, and this is what we get? You want to run away and be a dancer?" "I leave tomorrow, Dad. I have an apartment and a bike lined up." "A bike? You've got a brand new navy blue Ford Taurus." I turned in my company car. He shook his head. You know what I would have given for at that age? Things are different today. "Are they in Germany? You think they're prejudiced here?" He paused, scowl deepening. "Where were you in sales this year?" I shrugged. "Top performer." "You're always the top performer, a standout employee. What about Long John Silver's?" I exhaled. Deep breath. "That was a college job. They offered you your own location to manage." I could never do that. And my medical sales job will still be here when I get back. Will it? And they'll hire someone new. All your hard-won clients will go to someone else. He paused. Is Pittsburgh the problem? Just ask for a new territory. What about your stock options? I have a feeling it will all turn out okay. A feeling, he squatted next to the sofa arm. These kinds of opportunities for us, for people like us, don't come along every day, Kathy. You think you could support yourself teaching Germans to